He became famous and wealthy because to American pickers. Everything started to crumble after that. Mike Wolfe's divorce cost him $5.8 million. His friend Frank died after they had a violent argument. He has no idea why his store has shut down. Many viewers are beginning to doubt the show's veracity. In spite of fake fines and angry neighbors, Mike Wolfe's real story, which differs greatly from what you see on TV, is slowly coming to light. Iliade, where Mike Wolfe was born, is Central Illinois. It was June 11, 1964. When he was a little boy, his family moved to Bettendorf, Iowa, where he and his brothers Ravi and Beth spent their formative years. His mother, Rita, did a lot of hard work raising their children alone. Wolfe never let the fact that he was poor deter him. In the most improbable of places, he found possibilities. In order to get to school without being picked on, he would take a detour via people's backyards and alleys. Things that other people had discarded caught his eye for the first time at that place. At the tender age of 6, he found a bicycle with a banana seat hiding in the weeds behind a neighbor's house. After taking it apart, washing it, and inflating the tires, he sold it for $5. There were other factors besides financial ones. It was the thrill of finding something valuable in an area where nobody had looked before. Something within him was aroused by it. As he became older, his fascination in old furniture, bicycles, and antiques intensified. While other kids played outside or watched TV, Wolfe dragged rusty bikes and broken chairs inside, vowing to fix them. Mother gave him permission to use the garage as a workshop when she saw how enthusiastic he was. Garbage collection was just one of his many activities. As he studied, he sold, and he restored. Because of his passion for bikes, he even started a business selling them, but eventually he focused only on antiques. Wolfe decided to turn his childhood hobby into a career around the year 2000. He opened antique archaeology in LeClaire, Iowa, to sell the strange artifacts he had found on his digging adventures. Barns, garages, and other abandoned buildings were his playground as he sought for long-lost historical artifacts. The show's 2010 History Channel launch put a sudden stop to the company's gradual but steady expansion. People loved the show right away. Fans of Earth Lost Gems liked following Wolfe and his crew as they searched for long-lost treasures across the country. But they were more than just antiques. The stories that accompanied them, as well as their history and craftsmanship, were important. The popularity of American pickers led to a rise in antique archaeology. Set up shop in Nashville, Tennessee, in a repurposed car plant. Originally a store, it transformed into something more. Those interested in history might find relics that lead them to the past. Wolfe might have launched his business with just a concept. Locate long-lost historical relics, fix them up, and give them to someone who would appreciate them for what they are. By cataloging and describing rare artifacts and their tales, he elevated vintage archaeology to the level of an institution in its own right. Along with antiques, he launched Two Lanes, a clothing brand influenced by American road travels through small towns. He is also the author of Kid Pickers, a book that promotes the idea that children may learn about history through collecting objects. His enthusiasm, nonetheless, did not cease there. The sale of antiquities wasn't Wolfe's only intention. His objective was the preservation of American history. Through initiatives like the National Trust for Historic Preservation's This Place Matters campaign, he helped to save historic sites and monuments in small towns. Even after transforming the 1947 Chevy dealership into a LeClaire store, he maintained the building's original character. Through his work in restoring rundown buildings in Columbia, Tennessee, he proved that artifacts from the past need not be lost. Mike Wolfe's mission to breed American pickers started long before the cameras started rolling. In his pursuit of fame, he was more than just another reality TV star. He had a knack for salvaging items that others had discarded, and he had a knack for picking them out. Wolfe devoted decades to investigating rural roads, poring over barns and sheds, and discovering relics from America's history. Instead of just collecting things, he gathered tales. Films shot on his travels captured the thrill of discovery and the unique histories of the objects he encountered. Those videos formed the backbone of his pitch to television networks. He was peddling more than just a show. Making history more interesting by connecting it to the everyday people who unconsciously preserved it was his notion. After 5 years of trying, Wolfe's proposition was ultimately unsuccessful. Even though most networks didn't think it was cute that two guys were driving around looking for antiques, he kept at it. He knew that his work was special. His doggedness was rewarded in 2009. When the History Channel spotted potential in American pickers, it was constructed in just a few months. Following its debut on January 18, 2010, the show gained rapid popularity. An audience of 3.1 million tuned in to the first show. Since Ice Road Truckers, no History Channel premiere has been as successful as this one. That number increased to nearly 4 million in only a few short weeks. The timing couldn't have been better. Shows like Pawn Stars had previously proven the viability of history-based reality TV, and American Pickers continued that trend flawlessly. However, its distinctiveness lay in its core. There was more to it than meets the eye. It honed concentrate on the often overlooked yet enduring historical figures, places, and details. The success of the performance was greatly contributed to by Wolfe's partnership with Fritz. Having known one another since middle school, the two established a bond around their shared love of antiques. They understood the thrill of hunting because they were both orphans. When the idea for American Pickers was born, Fritz had to be considered as a co-host. He added a friendly and entertaining element to the show with his easygoing personality and love of strange objects like old toys and oil cans. Collectors were comfortable opening up to him on camera, and he was able to elicit some of their most fascinating stories. The presentation seemed sincere because of their synergy. Staged drama and forced exchanges were non-existent. People could identify with the story because it followed two best friends as they pursued their passions. The role that Fritz played in the show's early success is undeniable. Even after disagreements forced him to depart in 2021. American Pickers was well known for more than only its charismatic hosts, the format was also very unique. It was more than just a treasure hunt in every episode. A journey through the ages it was. With Wolfe at the helm, the event made sure that cultural significance was just as much a focus as monetary value. Whence did it come from? Can you tell me who possessed it? Why did it matter so much? By presenting them in this way, the storytellers elevated ordinary objects to the status of major historical artifacts. Moreover, the program pushed for eco-friendliness. The picking was about more than just making a living. The objective was to provide previously used items a fresh start. In an era of mass production and throwaway culture, American Pickers showed audiences that the past still had worth, both monetarily and in terms of cultural relevance. American Pickers revolutionized television's portrayal of history from the very beginning. Museums and textbooks had nothing to do with it. Stories hidden in the most unexpected places, ordinary people, and long-lost objects were the main points. Mike Wolfe and Fritz were on the road for over a decade, turning rusty trash into money by finding American Pickers. Despite their collaborative efforts to ensure the show's success, their friendship started to decline in the background. By 2020, problems had escalated to an unacceptable level. After that year, Fritz never longer made guest appearances on the program. No one could put their finger on it at first. Despite his followers' expectations, months passed him by without a trace. Instagram officially announced Fritz's retirement in July 2021. Fritz would be missed, he said, despite the ups and downs of their voyage. Fritz did not believe any of it. The claim made by Wolfe was dismissed as absurd by him during an interview. Fritz then admitted that he and Wolfe had not communicated for 2 years. Even though Fritz underwent extensive back surgery in 2020, Wolfe still failed to appear. Fritz insisted he knew my back was in trouble, yet he still didn't phone to see how I was doing. Somebody he'd known for over 40 years seemed to have left him high and dry. Silence was simply one aspect of the rivalry. Fritz felt that Wolfe had become the show's exclusive focus. He made the comment that it is completely biased in his favor. Their dynamic is like a band where Wolfe would alternate between front and back, he says. But health problems made things worse. Fritz was weak and in constant pain from his long battle with Crohn's disease. He couldn't operate a motor vehicle in 2020 because he had back surgery. Opioid addiction set in during that time for him. Fritz supposedly did not pass the necessary screenings because of the network's strict drug use standards. Because of it, they had an additional justification to exclude him from the program. However, Fritz insisted he was still committed. He lost his job. There was open display of the conflict. Wolfe was accused by Fritz of giving more attention to his brother Robbie than to him, who started making more appearances on American Pickers. Conversely, asserted that they tried to assist Fritz and even encouraged him to get help. He said the breakup was terrible, like losing a sibling. By mid-2021, the official date had passed. Fritz had indeed departed, according to the History Channel. Proponents were irate. More than 300 episodes featuring him and Wolfe's cross-country adventures had aired since the show's 2010 debut. The performance, according to many, lost some of its magic when he was gone. By that point, Fritz's health had taken precedence over television, but some started pleading for his return. Then, in July of 2022, tragedy happened. After suffering a severe stroke, Fritz was mostly crippled and confined to his bed. There was no improvement in his condition. He passed away on September 30, 2024, when he was 60 years old. Wolfe was supposedly always by his side, no matter what. They had discreetly rejoined in May 2023. In a post he made to Instagram after Fritz passed away, Wolfe praised him as someone who had a dreamer quality who was just as sensitive as funny. Mike Wolfe became famous for his work in American picker treasure hunting, which involved searching abandoned homes and barns for long-lost treasures. But his reputation has been an issue for him for quite some time. Some of his admirers are upset about his marketing methods, while others question the show's authenticity. More lately, he has come under fire for trying to rehabilitate a small community. None of these scandals have stopped him. Their influence has changed his view. The 2016 episode Shelby, Indiana the Barn featured one of the most consequential fights in American pickers' history. In Alabama, Wolfe and his colleague John Sala were followed by the show as they searched for a Chevrolet neon sign. But instead, they stumbled upon a 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500 that had supposedly been well preserved for almost 4 decades. As soon as the announcement was made, fans began to doubt its veracity, thinking it was too wonderful to be true. People were wondering how the camera could have captured such a rare car so easily on social media and Reddit. Some viewers felt that the show's creators had premeditated their discoveries and locations in order to pump up the tension. While some preparation is inevitable in reality TV, others felt that this particular scene seemed staged. The financial data was included. In the face of doubts. Back when it was in rough shape. The Mustang had a value of about $75,000 when it was. Repairing it would cost more than $100,000. The owner turned down Wolfe's offer to purchase it due to the sentimental importance it held. Speculation was further heightened by this. Some viewers felt the situation was staged for dramatic effect, while others insisted that tension-filled moments like these were what made the show so compelling. It became, without a doubt, one of the most talked-about finds in the annals of American pickers. Commercial strategies employed by Wolfe off-screen have also drawn criticism. In 2022, Antique Archaeology was accused by one of his clients of foregoing a sale to accept a higher offer. After making an online purchase, they got a confirmation, but then they got their money back suddenly, with no explanation. Concerned that they may have taken a better offer, they contacted the Better Business Bureau in writing. Just like before, I would like them to complete the purchase. As a counter-argument, Antique Archaeology revealed that 2 people had bought the same thing in the hours preceding January 21, 2022. The system failed to update the inventory since both payments were handled prematurely due to a technical issue. Thanks to this, the second order got its money back. Some buyers were still unsatisfied after hearing this. The company did not get complaints first. Many have raised concerns about the astronomical prices throughout the years. Have the insight to notice that branded socks are priced at $18 and basic vintage signage at $900. Despite the company's yearly revenue of around $900,000, Wolfe's moral character has been called into question by some due to these issues. He and his colleagues have promised to fix the website after hearing complaints about the online order. The most vicious criticism Wolfe has encountered, meanwhile, has nothing to do with his shop or his program. It has to do with his role in the development of Columbia, Tennessee. He spent $700,000 on a historic house there in 2022. He spent almost $1 million restoring it to its original design. That was merely the beginning. His real estate holdings also included multiple purchases. A 2-lane vacation rental and a cycle shop were among the businesses he incorporated to entice newcomers to the community. Although not everyone appreciates his efforts, there are many who do. His critics claim that he is changing Columbia's personality and driving up property prices. Concerns were already high when a $93 million, 6-story housing development was announced. Some residents are worried that their small-town allure is going away. A few are concerned about being priced out of their own community. Wolfe thinks his work is great since it preserves history while still making money. He keeps his followers up to date on his restoration work and vintage automotive collection, which includes a 1959 Chevrolet El Camino, through regular social media postings. But that hasn't prevented many from criticizing his taste in antiques. The extent to which he had an impact on Columbia is debatable, and many see it as a symptom of deeper problems. When does redevelopment cross the line into gentrification? Despite the hardships in his personal life, Mike Wolfe has spent years searching the United States for long-lost fortunes. He and Jody Faith were married in 2012, and they spent nearly a decade building a life together. Their marriage was plagued by serious challenges, one of which was Jody's battle with stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2013, and she endured years of therapy before being declared free in 2020. Even when they triumphed in that fight together, their love failed. They divorced in December 2021 following their June 2020 split. It was said that the reason was irreconcilable differences. It was a significant settlement. Along with over $5.8 million in cash, Jody also received North Carolina and Tennessee mansions. Along with income from American Pickers, she also received $2,100 per month in child support. She was granted primary custody of Charlie, their daughter. On the other hand, Mike is still a very active and caring dad. His passion for Charlie and his promise to be her rock are evident in the many photos of the two of them that he shares on social media. A life of hard labor for him. Divorce was a trying moment for him, but it was also an opportunity for growth. The 6th of November was Mike's 60th birthday. His girlfriend, Letitia Klein, sent heartfelt emails detailing her joy at his achievements and journey. It wasn't simply another birthday for Mike. It provided a chance to reflect on what really matters. He traveled for several years, looking for antiques and telling stories about the past. But now he was paying different attention. He spoke about how much he values his close-knit circle of friends and how he prioritizes his strong ties over his career. Regardless of this change in perspective, his excitement for picking remained unchanged. Still, he persisted in traveling the country in search of interesting people and unusual things to learn. Not even his 60th birthday slowed him down. Actually, it just served to heighten his admiration for the journey. Mike Wolfe has never stopped digging for long-lost treasures, piecemeal revealing pieces of history. But an unexpected hurdle greeted 2025 at the outset. Suddenly, in February, his Nashville antique shop, Antique Archaeology, shut down. The cause, a gas leak from nearby construction, was completely beyond his control. The store's employees took to social media to apologize and reassure consumers that they were working on the issue. As of late February, no official date has been given for its reopening, but they have promised updates. Fans immediately began asking questions. There were some who believed the shutdown would be short-lived. Some wondered if anything more was going on behind the scenes. The recent decline in American Pickers ratings and the nation's struggling retail enterprises fueled speculation. Was this a sign that Wolfe was shifting his focus? Is the construction the only issue at the store? These were the types of questions that were being asked, even though no official statement indicated anything beyond a temporary halt. In addition to selling antiques, the Nashville store has served as more than that for many years. Located in Marathon Village, a historic district of the city, it is an absolute must-see for anyone who adore old finds in the show. It has been a part of Wolfe's brand and a physical representation of his passion for finding long-lost historical relics, along with his sister store in LeClaire, Iowa. Regardless of the firm's success, owning a physical store comes with risks, unexpected closures, increasing expenses, and changing consumer behavior. Factors influence the potential duration of a store's operation. Knows what's going on, and while he hasn't said anything about the Nashville store's future, supporters are hoping for a speedy reopening. Wolfe had a considerably busier year overall, with the store closing being one minor detail. Already in 2024, there had been profound personal loss and major life changes. Frank Fritz, who was his longtime companion and a previous co-star on American Pickers, passed away in September. They have had a rough go of it during the last many years. Since Fritz's departure from the show in 2020 due to health issues, tensions between the two have been building. Notwithstanding their differences, was there for him in his final moments and even took his hand. It was a tangible symbol of the many happy times they had shared. Their shared love of antiques resulted in a one-of-a-kind show that touched the hearts of millions. Wolfe shows no signs of slowing down, even after making all of these changes to his own routine. American Pickers is set to continue filming in South Carolina in February 2025. The filmmakers are reaching out to locals in an effort to find participants, asking anyone with interesting stories and unique collections to get in contact. That there was an effort to breathe fresh life into the play is a major red flag. Because fewer people are tuning into it these days. But Wolfe has always believed his work would be effective. Through decades of searching through barns, garages, and abandoned storage facilities, he has not found anything spectacular. Not only does he maintain expanding his business, but he also has the program. His charming rental property, the guest house at Tulane University, and Columbia Motor Alley. Still essential to his job is creating a setting that evokes the past for those who enjoy classic automobiles. Despite his busy schedule, he never loses sight of his fundamental passion, delving into the past. Mike Wolfe loves history in many forms. American Pickers is only one of them. His lifelong interest in antiques has blossomed into something far more substantial for him. Through writing books and restoring buildings, he has dedicated his life to preserving history in ways that millions of people may enjoy. Kid Pickers, a book he wrote to inspire children to learn about history through artifacts, is one of his most daring projects away from television. Instead than seeing old things as just objects, kids should see the stories that are hidden inside. Through reading this book, they will get the skills necessary to do historical research, find priceless artifacts, and understand their historical value. It reflects Wolfe's perspective on the world, which is that of a collector and storyteller with the dual goals of passing on knowledge to generations to come. As a result of his deep interest in the past, he established antique archaeology, a business that goes beyond simple selection. The apparel and accessories he offers are designed based on his travels. American Pickers are known for their adventurous spirit, and fans may show their support by purchasing t-shirts, hats, and more. Nevertheless, this extends beyond only commodities. He can invite people to come along on his journey and be a part of his built universe. His brick and mortar shops can be found in LeClaire, Iowa, and Nashville, Tennessee. In addition to being businesses, both locations are filled to the brim with unique artifacts that he has gathered on his travels. In certain places, the past comes to life. On the other hand, Wolfe isn't just into collecting and selling old things. Preserving the sites where history was made is his ultimate objective. He works closely with the National Trust for Historic Preservation and uses his position to raise awareness about landmarks and structures that are in danger of being permanently lost. One of his most prominent initiatives, This Place Matters, encourages individuals to protect landmarks that tell the nation's history. His passion for conservation goes beyond just raising awareness. He is proactive since he buys rundown buildings and fixes them up himself. He bought a long-abandoned 1947 Chevrolet dealership in Columbia, Tennessee. Instead of destroying it or making radical changes, he restored it while painstakingly preserving its original essence. Now it serves as a retail establishment. Furthermore, it demonstrates that historic buildings can be restored rather than torn down. Wolfe has also spent millions on downtown renovation projects in smaller towns. He is cognizant of the fact that communities suffer losses beyond those associated with physical infrastructure when historic structures are torn down. They forget who they are, what they're good at, and how they got started. He invests in places like LeClaire, Iowa, and Columbia, Tennessee because of this reason. Through the repair of buildings and by contributing to the growth of these towns' futures. One of his more audacious endeavors is the Nashville-based Big Backyard Project, which seeks to enhance the economic standing of small towns with less than 5,000 members. Local communities from Muscle Shoals, Alabama to Leeds Fork, Tennessee are benefiting from this effort, which helps bring in tourists and remote workers. Wolfe is doing his part to ensure the longevity and prosperity of these areas by raising money for infrastructure, advertising, and tourism. Preserving history, in his view, entails more than just houses and relics. Furthermore, he places a premium on collecting and preserving ancient motorcycles. At the tender age of 13, his love for motorbikes blossomed. His mother had no idea that he had secretly bought his first motorcycle, but he was instantly enamored with it. His collection of vintage motorcycles has grown over the years and presently includes roughly 130 of them. A 1913 Indian Twin and a 1934 Harley-Davidson VL are two of his most uncommon models. American motorcycles made before 1920 are of particular interest since they represent the dawn of motorized transportation. In addition to owning them, he takes great care in maintaining them. As opposed to the majority of collectors, Wolfe prefers to keep classic motorcycles in their original condition rather than restore them to make them look like new. Every ding, dent, and scratch tells a story in his mind. Keeping them genuine is, in his view, equally important as keeping them running. Not only does he collect motorcycles, but he also rides one. He takes long, scenic rides around the country on antique bikes in search of other enthusiasts who share his passion for two-wheeled history. He has even collaborated with museums like North Carolina's Wheels Through Time to showcase old and unusual motorcycles. When Wolfe decided to auction off 62 motorcycles from his collection in January 2025, he became famous. More than just a sales pitch, it was at the Meacham auctions in Las Vegas. A shift in his priorities included that, instead of keeping every piece of motorcycle history, he chose to concentrate on specific eras so that other collectors could have a chance to obtain something special. According to him, these motorcycles are more than just tools. In his view, they bring to mind an earlier time when people were more open to new ideas and adventures. Whether it's collecting motorcycles, renovating buildings, or choosing antiques, Wolfe always has the same goal in mind. He is determined to stop the erasure of history. He hopes that, beyond their rarity or high price tag, people will value antiques for their functional value.